For centuries, we've been told a simple story about human history. First, we learned to farm. Then, with full bellies and a settled life, we built cities, created art, and developed complex societies. This is the agricultural revolution, the foundation of our modern world. But what if that story is completely backward? What if the greatest revolution in human history wasn't sparked by a grain of wheat, but by an idea, by faith? Our journey takes us to southern Turkey, to a place that shatters everything we thought we knew about our past. Göbekli Tepe. Unearthed in the 1990s, this site is a collection of massive, T-shaped limestone pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, arranged in stunning circular enclosures. They are intricately carved with images of animals: foxes, boars, snakes, and vultures, rendered with an artist's touch. It's a breathtaking feat of engineering and artistry. But here's the twist that rewrites history. Göbekli Tepe is 12,000 years old. That's 6,000 years before Stonehenge, 7,000 years before the first pyramids. More importantly, it was built millennia before the first evidence of agriculture or permanent settlements in the region. The people who built this were not farmers. They were hunter-gatherers. Think about that for a moment. Nomadic tribes constantly on the move, chasing herds and gathering wild plants, somehow came together to quarry, transport, and erect these colossal structures. How? Why? The traditional model says this is impossible. Hunter-gatherer societies are supposed to be small, egalitarian, and too focused on daily survival to undertake such monumental projects. Let's look closer at these pillars. They aren't just random stones. They represent a sophisticated understanding of geometry and construction. The circular enclosures are precisely laid out. The pillars are shaped with incredible skill, using only primitive stone tools. Look at the reliefs. The detail is extraordinary. These weren't simple doodles. They were powerful symbols, stories carved in stone for eternity. This level of craftsmanship implies specialized labor. Not everyone was out hunting. Some people were quarry masters, some were stone carvers, some were engineers. And to organize these specialists, you need leadership. You need a social hierarchy. You need a shared, compelling reason to bring hundreds of people from different clans together for a project that might span generations. This wasn't about building a granary or a defensive wall. There are no signs of domestic life here, no houses, no hearths, no trash pits filled with everyday waste. Archaeologists believe Göbekli Tepe wasn't a city. It was a temple, a sacred meeting place, a cathedral in the desert, built by people who were still living a nomadic lifestyle. This flips the historical script on its head. It suggests that a complex belief system, a religion, came first. It was the desire to gather, to worship, to perform rituals at this sacred place that drove social organization. The sheer logistics are mind-boggling. You'd need to feed hundreds of workers. How do you do that without farming? The answer lies in the rich ecosystem of the time. The Fertile Crescent was a paradise, teeming with wild game and vast fields of wild wheat and barley. Archaeologists theorize that the builders of Göbekli Tepe organized massive feasts. The evidence is there. Tons of animal bones, particularly from gazelles and aurochs, show signs of large-scale consumption. These feasts weren't just a meal. They were a social adhesive, a reward for the hard labor, and a central part of the ritual itself. It was the need to provide for these massive gatherings, year after year, that may have been the real catalyst for agriculture. Imagine the scenario. You need to feed an army of builders and pilgrims. Relying on hunting and gathering becomes unpredictable. So you start experimenting. You encourage the wild grasses growing nearby. You build enclosures to manage the wild sheep. You start to control your food source not for daily survival, but to fuel your faith, to keep the sacred project going. Farming wasn't the cause of settlement and society. It was the consequence of a shared spiritual quest. Civilization wasn't born from a full stomach but from a hungry soul. This idea fundamentally changes our understanding of what it means to be human. It suggests that our capacity for abstract thought, for symbolism, for a shared belief in something bigger than ourselves, is not a byproduct of civilization but its very architect. The T-shaped pillars at Göbekli Tepe are often interpreted as stylized human figures, perhaps representing ancestors or supernatural beings. The people gathering here weren't just building with stone, they were building a cosmos. They were shaping their world through ideas long before they shaped it with a plow. The carvings on the pillars give us more clues. We see predators, dangerous animals, and carrion birds like vultures. One famous pillar, the vulture stone, seems to depict a narrative scene, a headless human figure alongside a vulture. This has led some to speculate about complex funeral rites, perhaps involving sky burial, where the body is left to be consumed by birds. It points to a deep preoccupation with life, death, and the journey of the spirit, the very essence of religion. So the next time you see a field of wheat or a loaf of bread, remember that the story might be more profound than you think. The revolution didn't start with planting a seed in the ground. It started with planting an idea in the mind. A shared vision powerful enough to move mountains and unite humanity in a common purpose. Göbekli Tepe is the physical proof. It's the world's first temple, and quite possibly the true birthplace of our civilized world. It forces us to ask, what drives us? Is it our basic needs or our highest aspirations? The stones of Göbekli Tepe suggest the answer has always been the latter. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If this story changed the way you see our history, hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations that challenge everything we thought we knew. See you next time.